Well, hey folks, Species 7 here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Farm Sim 17 and, of course, Spectacle Island. So I'm just going to come down here. I'm kind of just auto-loading these bales onto the trailer. I decided we're going to have enough work on the other end, unloading them pretty much by hand. Well, I mean, at least as far as where they're going to really go. So, I thought we might as well at least get this end. At least get this end done the easy way. Boom. I think that should pretty much fill it. Ooh, not quite, eh? But unfortunately, the rest of those are a different animal, so let's flip that off so it doesn't accidentally pick up anything else. And let's head back. So I kind of wanted to have a little chat today about something I've seen a couple of examples of. And that's, although we are so late into the FS17 site scene right now, of course, you know, and FS19 is pretty much around the corner as far as things like that go. But I've always, well, not always, but often said, you know, it's really weird that I have to keep going out and hunting down grass for animals that spend their entire day grazing in grass fields. You know, you think there'd be enough, especially with the sheep. Well, now we have the grazing mod. And that basically, I guess somebody somewhere with far more of what it takes to do modding than I will ever have decided that, yeah, you know what? It's right. You should have the ability to have the animals eat their surroundings. So we have the grazing mod. Now, the grazing mod does just that. It keeps the troughs basically full of grass based on your field, like the field the animals are in and how much is there. And interestingly enough, and one of the things that I kind of been missing out on by doing these LPs on YouTube, if you happen to use that mod with seasons implemented, then it's really well integrated with that as well. And of course, in seasons where the grass doesn't grow, like winter, your troughs will remain empty, and it will be up to you to figure out how to keep them full. Again, without seasons, I guess you pretty much just have grass year-round, and it's, you know, kind of take care of itself. But again, with the seasons, yeah, a little bit different animal, and very cool, very cool. So, the other one is the mud mod. Now, some maps with mud on them are really, really cool. Others are rather annoying. But again, this is what they call dynamic mud. And what dynamic mud does, compared to what we used to have, is it's reactive to... actually, I think I want to... I know I can probably stack it on top of that one, but with them both missing one hole, I don't want to take the chance of having them explode, because this is not a good area to end up having to pick them up if they go off the edges and such. So we'll call that good, shall we? So yeah, dynamic mud. So if it rains, things get muddier. If it doesn't rain for a while, things start to dry out. And again, this has been... oops, idiot. This has been done with the seasons mod in mind, because it is also extremely affected by whether or not you're running seasons. So, again, like I say, it is unfortunate that seasons makes a game that is very slow already. You know, and therefore perhaps a little less exciting than most in the entertainment department, and of course slows it down even more. But with the unfortunately with the grazing mod, you have to have a map that is prepped for it. Now, it does include the files to go into GE yourself and do so, for those of us that are actually, you know, clearly far more intelligent than I, that's an option. There are, now, I was perusing FSUK last night, and, you know, whenever I say that FSUK is just not what it used to be, I inevitably have people come in and go, oh no, it's still a going concern, and there's so many blah blah blah, and there's this and that. It's a really good site in so much as there are some very talented modders there. But just to give you an example of my point about how it's just not, you know, as active and as popular as it used to be, if you look at their most downloaded and most popular mods, they start at 5 to 7 years ago. So in other words, there's still mods from FS13 that are being used more than current mods for FS18 from that site, because, or 19, sorry, or 17, good heavens, boy, get it together. You know, and there's just not that many active mods. But, of course, I mean, there are, like I said, some incredibly good modders that hang out there. So, as an informational place, it's top-notch. I spend a fair bit of time reading forums there, and almost zero time downloading mods. However, what I did notice, you thought there was a point to this, didn't you? Is that there was, in fact, a map that was grazing ready. So, but I mean, it's okay. I think I want to go to that far one. It's only a partial. You know, they're a little bit far and few between from what I've been able to tell so far. And with that said, well, you know, are we so far along in the development of this particular cycle with FS17 that it's just too little too late? I don't know. But as I say, the mods intrigue me. They really do. Because it's things that I said, you know, I really enjoy the mud mod, but it is a rather static thing. You know, like if they'd say this was a map with lots of mud and there's mud on this corner. Well, I know darn well that every time I get to this corner, there's going to be the same amount of mud, and it's going to slow me down the same amount, etc., etc. So, you guys know what it's like. You've been on maps where there's mud, and, you know, the dynamic mud, that's really neat. I mean, there may be points where the mud is difficult already, and you get a couple of days of rain, and it will become darn near impossible, to the point you might even have to reroute, you know? And, of course, I mean, the animals grazing thing just kind of seemed like a no-brainer. And I imagine the only reason that Giants didn't implement that in some way, shape, or form is, like I said, without seasons, it becomes almost OP, doesn't it? Because you're always going to have grass in your meadow. You know, maybe not your meadows, but certainly the ones that come with the animals come fully grassed. So, and maybe they'll deplete it after a time. That would be interesting. But again, I mean, you know. So does that mean your grass supply runs out in 3 days if you have 100 sheep and 30 days if you have 10? Interesting. I would like to try it, but again, it's really only something that's going to have huge impact if you include it into a seasons-ready map. Well, not seasons-ready, but one where you're actually using the seasons. So. But when we did go through and have a discussion on seasons and whether it was something that was beneficial or baneful to my Let's Plays, it did seem most people were of the opinion that it just slowed things down too much, and even most of the well-watched YouTubers seem to have come to the same conclusion. So now, oh boy, I'm going to have to I think start dealing with this before I get too much further. And I may have been a little overconfident in my choice of sheds now that I see just how much balage we have. Yeah. do. Buck-a-boom. Buck-a-boom. There we go. Almost caught the corner of that one. That would not have been good. So, yeah, I actually have our telehandler down there ready to take up the slack, as is her require. So, we got pretty much come to that point where we are going to have to move some things just to make room for the rest of them. So, let's get down and get that guy set up and see if we can't at least maybe get the hay tucked away today. I think this is going to be a reasonably short episode. You yelled at me all the way through the other video this morning, Dexter. You're going to start again, are you, buddy? Well, nice of you to come and say hello to all of our farm sim friends. Yes. Now be a good boy and go bug somebody else. No, I guess he's just going to just tell me he's off for his nap, so. Alrighty. And up the hill we go. I don't think I really need that going. Brum, 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 brum. Come on, baby. You can do it. Little more. I think that's about right, eh? Oh, yes. Beautiful. Even with that weight on there, that's a lot to handle. Indeed, a lot to handle. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think they were going to fit full stack height. Let's get a little closer to center, shall we? But they'll certainly fit 4 tall. That's just terrible. Unacceptable. There we go. I'd rather a little bit of a minus than a plus on the degrees when I go to pick them up, because it splits them up like that. See how the top ones have already split? That's because I wasn't level when I came in the first time. There we go. Now we got the whole puppy. Lovely. Alright, well, I'm going to do the rest for the, or do the rest of these. Yeah, I think I'll have to go to the end here. Get the best grip. Yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Ooh, this is just asking for me to go backwards off of this thing, isn't it? Whew. There we go. Alright. Glom. Whoa. Okay, well, this is a problem. Alright, that's... I think there's really something wrong with the grass weights. You know what I mean? Like, that's... Yeah. Can I pick up 4? I mean, that shouldn't be that much to ask for, should it? No, I can't even pick up 4 bales of grass with a weight on. Wow. Alright. You know, I'm really starting to think that this MR thing is a little bit screwed, to be honest with you. I mean, come on. Are you telling me this machine weighs less than 4 bales of grass? They weigh... Well, I guess they weigh a lot. Well, 4,000 liters is only 1,320 kilogram. Okay. I'm pretty sure that weighs more than a ton. I wonder if the weights just don't work in MR. Can I pick up 2 bales? Good heavens. You know? I can pick up 8 or better hay bales. Wonder what the weight is on them. So that says 1,320 kilo. 380. Oh, okay. So one of these grass bales weighs as much as... what? Wow, okay. Well, now it sort of makes sense. But that's also pretty horrible. Because of this machine, with all of its power. And look, that's barely capable of 2 bales. And the big counterweight at the back can only manage 2 bales. Then I would have to say that you're basically, you can't use normal small gear that you might on the farm for doing, you know, even moving a single bale to the cow shed to feed them is, yeah, it's, I don't know. There we go. A little more even. Whoop. Well, it's going to take a long time to do it 2 bales at a time. Holy smokes. Wow. Alright guys, well, I guess I know what I'll be doing for the next week. So, it's funny, you know, whenever I drop MR, I get guys complaining that, oh, you're not going to use MR on this playthrough? You know, and yet we constantly put up with things like this, where it just makes everything a little bit almost too troublesome. You know? Oh well, let's get through it. Just out of curiosity, what do these weigh? 500 kilograms, alright. So, I suppose, eh? You know? Okay, I guess it's wrong to assume that MR is doing this inaccurately then. It's just a matter of you know, what would you possibly use? I mean, do I have to use a wheel loader to move more than 2 bales at a time? I guess. You know. And yet I've seen farmers in real life picking up more than 2 bales of grass. You know, or wet alfalfa, which I'm sure alfalfa weighs as much as grass does. Come on. You know. With certainly smaller tractors than we're going to be required to use. But, oh well. I think I have whined and beefed about MR enough for the day. Yeah. So don't be surprised if I decide after going through this that I don't want to use it anymore. Oh well. Anyway, guys, I know it's been a bit of a shorter episode, but this is pretty much what I'm going to be stuck doing here for a while, so rather than put a cut in it and come back to something else that is going to take even longer to get through, I think we're just going to have a little bit of a shorter episode. So thanks very much, everyone, for joining me here today. And as I said, let me know what you think about the grazing mod and the dynamic mud mod. I do think they would, again, in conjunction with seasons, I think they add a fair bit of coolness to the game. So, oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah. That's something I hadn't counted on. Was that this thing is going to be too big for doing doubles. Because that's it, I can't stack them any higher than that in the back row. Yeah. Maybe we'll just avoid grass bales from now on. We'll collect the grass with the wagon. Alright guys, till next time, this has been Species 7 for Farm Sim 17, Spectacle Island, and well, one annoying little problem after another. Take care of each other, folks, and ciao for now.